This conference will now be recorded.
Actually, it is happy to see everybody after a long time. We are meeting almost after 11 months. Uh, in between, of course, we had few webinars during the lockdown period, and I think we had around 37 webinars across all technical and non-technical sessions. We are very happy that people had attended those webinars in large numbers, and hope that the knowledge which knowledge is the king. So whatever the discussions that has happened in those meetings is very helpful for you. In the last couple of months, we were not able to do any webinars because of time constraints, due dates, etc. I am personally very sorry for that. After the ICA has given us the permission, we were earlier thinking of keeping a budget online meeting, but finally we had a discussion with our core committee, and most of them were of the view that we should have a physical meeting. We have not met for almost a year, and it would be a great opportunity to hear the budget in face-to-face mode rather than on webinars. Uh, the Coming to the next month's plan, we will be keeping physical meetings as per the availability of SNDD classroom, our normal session where we were keeping. The most important announcement that I have to do after the budget is that we will be conducting our RRC jointly with Mulund Study Circle, Ghatkopar Study Circle, and WRC. The RRC will be held at 5th, 6th, and 7th of March 2021. The location of the RRC is at Treat Resort, Bodhi, that is Golwad. It is a very nearby place and very enjoyable place. The speakers will be CA Keval Shah and from Mulund for GST, and the income tax speaker and for the subject will be CA Naveen Bhai Gandhi. So very interesting topics and very interesting speakers. Everybody will enjoy, and we will be sending the detailed information by today or max by tomorrow. I would request everybody to enroll in large numbers and continue with the physical meetings that we are doing. And the costing for the RRC is around 8,000 rupees plus GST. And the GST credit will be available for us since the place is in Maharashtra and we are also registered. Majority of them are registered in Mumbai. Coming to the budget meeting, we welcome with us our today's speakers, CA Mehul Shah, the uh, along with our session conductor, as Amit sir is saying, but according to us, he's the chairman of the session, CA Amit Doshi. NCA Rajiv Lutia, our indirect tax speaker, will be joining shortly. So without taking much of your time, I would now request CA Mamta Seth to introduce our first speaker for income tax, CA Mehul Shah.
Thank you, Charlie. Good evening, everyone. Speaker and chairman of the session. It gives me great pleasure to introduce chairman of the session, CA Amit Shah, Amit Doshi. His partner at APA. Actually, he told me not to introduce him, so I'm a bit nervous because he gave me dhamki not to introduce him. Partners at APMH Association LLP. He mainly manages income tax representation and audit. Is active member of GSE, past convenient member of GSE, part of core committee member of GSE. Also, he has chaired various sessions at various forum. With this introduction, I request a Kishore Divani sir to give momentum to C. Amit Doshi sir. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our own CA Mehul sir. He is BCom FCA DSA by qualification, partner of Shah and Shah Chartered Accountants, mainly handling corporate law matters, income tax matters, and audit on consultation and execution side, appearing before direct tax appellate authorities, visiting faculty at SNDT College, Ghatkopar for MCom Part 1 for accounting and costing, contributed to various publication of professional organization, led various study circle meeting and seminars, national conferences, past convener of Ghatkopar CP Study Circle WIRC, co-opted member on a different committee of professional organization, coordinator IT support for bank audit queries portal, instituted by ICA for past 7 years, acting as a peer reviewer on behalf of ICA as a panel member. With this introduction, I request CA Jayesh Bagadia sir to give memento to CA Mehul Shah sir.
Presenting on behalf of all of you to are ever green and ever active.
We welcome CA Preeti Savla madam and our speaker CA Raju Yutia sir on behalf of TAC. Now I request CA Mehul Shah sir to take this.
Just a request from the college that please, we are not allowed any eatables or we cannot drink water inside the premises. So we can use the outside premises. Just a request.
Thank you, Jarvik, for allowing me to speak few words. Well, it's been refreshing to see all the members in person after a long time. I'm sure every one of you would be having the same feelings. Again, seeing the people in mask, despite all the pandemic that we have faced, and people like me who have got the immunity, we are cherishing this moment and would keep on doing that. As for Mehul, probably I would like to say that he is celebrating his 50th birthday tomorrow. We had the birthday celebration since he is traveling today. Tonight he is leaving for an outstation destination. So we have already had the opportunity of celebrating his 50th birthday. Mehul, I'm sorry if I'm disclosing your age. Anyways, as we know, Mehul can deliver on the topic, any topic, I would say, not only in case of income tax, but even if it is corporate law or any other accounting standard or any other matter, he is capable of delivering the required knowledge to all of us, sharing the knowledge, his power of interpretation is known to us. And I'm sure even today, we all would be going with increase in our knowledge. And thereafter, we also have our stalwart on GST, Rajiv, with us, both of whom have been the regulars at the meeting. Since Mehul has to leave at around 6:45, I would not take much of his time and give the dais to him so that he can give better presentation for the work that he has done. Thank you very much. Mehul, mic is yours.
Very good evening to all. This is the first meeting after so many months, so I have an opportunity to greet you all of a Happy New Year too in February. But that's how it is because we have not met for a long time. And somehow or the other, we all were feeling that now let's give it up and just let's go and celebrate, let's go and have a meeting. Somewhere or the other, some kind of hurdles were there, and ultimately we could overcome, and this meeting ultimately has happened. So we are yet fortunate, and I take this opportunity to be the first speaker after so many months here. So thanks to the organizers. I'm not allowed to call Amit Bhai a chairman, so I would say my supporter Amit Doshi, my co-speaker Rajiv Bhai Luthia, past chairman, chairperson WRC Preeti Savla, Naveen Bhai, Devani Sahib, he has been my mentor at our college, the very same college, Somaya College. Devani Sahib was our professor, and my dear seniors in the profession, my dear friends. Year on year basis, we have been getting this budget, and I always feel every time that ये बच्चा बड़ा क्यों नहीं होता? Because every year you have some other amendment. I'm not complaining, but ultimately every year you have something not getting stability, something or the other to break your head with. And life goes on this way, but fine, that's how it is, and probably that is the reason precisely why we are being paid so many complications. Any which ways, like every year we had been to Devlali even this year at Nalin Bhai's bungalow, and we had very beautiful, cherishable memories of Devlali. We went there, studied there. In fact, on 1st of February, my daughter's result for CA final was there. With the grace of God, she cleared both the groups. So now I have no chartered accountant in home. My father is also a chartered accountant. So fine. So this has been a very good month. Probably I really am enjoying life like anything. At Nalin Bhai's place, we were almost, I would just read those names too. You'll have to make one correction. I'll just come to that. Amit Doshi, Arshid Shah, Atul Mehta, Dilip Nathani, Dinesh Sampat, Hemant Mehta, Janak Shah, Jayan Kothari, Mehul Shah. Apart from Jayan, Jayesh Bagadia was there, but somehow he did not come last year. And because of this copy-paste error, I missed his name. So I apologize, sir. Mehul Shah, I was there. Nalin Bhai, Rajiv Bhai, Ravi Jain, Vijay Shah. In case if I missed some other names, I'm sorry, but by and large, I missed only one name. This is what my feeling is. And we were supported by the better half of Nalin Bhai, Bimla Parekh, Trupti Kothari, and Chandni Parekh as a team. And fantastic hospitality, the way we were actually given treatment there. We always feel that at home also we don't get this kind of a feeling. Thank you so much, sir, for all the support all these years. It's almost been 20 years we have been going to Devlali, maybe more than 22 years. I think somewhere in 1998, 99, we started going to Devlali. And of course, at that point in time, we had some other agenda. We were discussing certain court rulings. That was the first time somewhere in 99 we went. Okay. And then year on year basis, we have been going to that place, barring 1 or 2 years, probably we had the budget sessions here for some unavoidable reasons. Otherwise, Nalin Bhai has been always a support to us. And thank you very much, sir, for that. Now coming to my favorite slide, such a brilliant hoarding, respect the taxpayer. Nothing in this country is free. If you are getting something without paying for it, thank the taxpayer. So this is what it is, that ultimately it is the taxpayer who runs this country, not the farmers who are agitating today and getting subsidies. But with all respect to all these people, we go ahead with it. The act of finance minister is balancing, and this government is trying to balance it, but somewhere or the other we feel, I'll come to that, as to in balancing certain way, in some way, some has started coming in. Okay, some vindictive approach for the first time I've seen in this budget, as compared to last 6 years budgets. If you see, there has not been any vindictive approach. But this year we could sense that vindictive approach somewhere, thanks to our people at North Block. Anyways, again, no problems. The correct spelling is school, not school. Now, this particular slides probably those who had attended my meeting, the public budget meeting, probably for them a little repetition would be there, but don't get disappointed. I have something more for you guys, so don't worry. So the correct spelling is school and not school. Some people put the second O before the first O, which is absolutely wrong. Okay. People who find mistakes in every decision of Mr. Modi belongs to this category. So there is no complaint against Prime Minister. This country has not got, I'm not spokesman of BJP, please don't misunderstand. But this country has not got this kind of a Prime Minister ever. And salute to him. This is basically your personal growth, personal development versus I would like to share something on personal development versus or vis-a-vis business development. We all feel that we should develop our business, we should develop our profession. But at the same time, let us try understanding that so long as we are not able to actually personally develop ourselves, if we don't invest time, if we don't invest wealth in ourselves, our training, trust me, we will not be able to develop our business. Look at the government. Last 10 years, if not 10 years, let's take last 5 years. The way government has progressed in technology, we have actually not been able to meet with the pace. You look at so many decisions of government making everything e-filing, like right from assessments to appeals to even ITAT this time. Everything is getting technological, and in case if we are not able to develop ourselves with the pace of technology, it's not going to be possible for all of us to sustain in practice. So I know that the kind of money that the government can invest and the kind of money we can invest into technologies, there's a massive difference, because ultimately the government is investing in technology with our money, and we have to invest in technology with our money. So that's the only difference. But ultimately the fact remains that so long as we are not able to develop on personal front, trust me, the development in near future on business development and in professional development is going to be very difficult. So take these words and let's start ourselves in every sphere of life. Education and information. See, ultimately there has been load of information that is coming in. Okay, load of every day you start your computer and you have not less than 10 emails which are saying something or the other on the change. Change is constantly going on. Okay, but ultimately, unless and until we transfer our education into knowledge, okay, it's not going to happen. So somewhere or the other, we need to go on that also. So a note uttered from the deepest conviction is better than yes merely uttered to please or worse to avoid troubles. So this is what my great mentor Gandhiji has been saying, and we both go ahead. So these are old slides, so I'll just go ahead. My favorite guy. So we always been together for last so many years, and we have a contract that in case if he's a speaker, I am his chairman, and if I'm a speaker, he's my chairman. So that's how it is. So that bond is fantastically going. And this is the latest photograph from Devlali. Earlier, I had shown one of the photographs where I and Amiga was sleeping. Now I and Nalin are sleeping, but I'm permanently sleeping. So you can understand how my preparations. This is the team at Devlali, which we were there together. Dilip took these photographs. Agenda for today: pluses and expectationscape, budget at glance, rates of income tax, impact on amendment in slabs at glance, amendment applicable generally, amendments applicable to non-corporates, and how the entire gamut of this presentation is all about. Pluses and expectation gaps are First thing first, peacefully yet bold approach to face the challenges. The year went, the last year, I don't want even to talk about the year because my guru has always told me that whatever you focus on whatever you want, and you don't focus or don't even speak of what you don't want. If you want happiness, then speak of happiness only. If you say that I don't want to be unhappy, then you are focusing on unhappiness. Okay, so just say that happiness, happiness. That's it. If I want wealth, I would say I want wealth. I don't want to say, I would not never say that I don't want poverty. The very fact that this country has seen poverty throughout all these years is for the simple reason that गरीबी हटाओ का हमारे पास नारा था, so our focus was on गरीबी. Okay, so long as we are not able to defocus ourselves on what we don't want and focus on what we want, we will not be able to get. So this government has actually noticed. See, you look at this lady who has given the budget speech, our honorable finance minister. She has never spoken on the pandemic. In the entire budget speech, she just went on and on with everything what she wants. That's it. Correct, shown not to give much freebies based on a particular community, which was last year also, last 6 years also. This government has never given anything to a particular community, a particular the charity to a community. That is commendable. Not increasing threshold limit for the taxation. Yes, this is also one of the fantastic things government has been doing. That there is no reason why one should be actually increasing the threshold limit. I remember when I started my chartered accountancy before 25, maybe 30 years, I would say, the basic exemption limit was as low as 8,000 rupees. Maybe earlier, my seniors, Nalin Bhai and all, must have seen even a less basic exemption limit. But I have started with that 18,000 rupees, which has now reached up to 2.5 lakh rupees. So ultimately, if we increase the limit, there are people who are going to be out of the tax net. Something or the other one should contribute to the economy. This is the message. No attempt to make few happy at the cost of country. Development plans are there, and dispute resolution scheme that is next come in, that is commendable. On the expectation gaps, for one more year, there is not reduced increase in day by cause of an interest burden has been concern. Maybe as chartered accountants, we always feel कि हमको क्या करना है इन लोग. We ourselves as partners to build partners in the building of this economy. That we understand we in the economy also may understand the economy to an extent. Retrospective, but the first which are disturbing in nature have come in, and as I said, some vindictive approach could be seen there. No significant relief in personal taxation, which is fine. Complex structure of personal taxation continues. Okay, you look at Canada, see our taxation basic with USA and Canada or UK as the case may be, personal taxation limits are very high. As compared to that, we guys are very fortunate to have this kind of a limit. But the kind of 5%, 7%, 7.5%, 10%, 12.5%, or 5, 20, 30, and the surcharge at the rate of 10%, 15%, 25%, 37%, it drives you crazy. How could I just can't remember all these limits, because I'm able to speak to you about these limits right now because I've just studied. But after maybe 10 days or after a month even, I'll forget all those limits. As simple as that. No endeavor to reduce government spending. That is another thing. Government has to do something about that. Heavy compliance burden under TDS. That is a cause of concern. Year after year, the TDS compliance has been increasing, and this year they have created a havoc. I'll be sharing. Revenue receipts budgeted is at 2021 was, see, they had estimated 20,20,926 crores of rupees, but the ultimately revised estimate was 15 lakh 50. So 5 lakh crore was to be reduced in the budget, and yet they are estimating around 17.88 lakhs crores rupees of receipts. And I'm not going into the old figures, but ultimately what matters is that the interest burden which is there as compared to the last year, 6,92,900 lakh crore and 692,900 crore, the interest is going to be 8,09,701 crore, which is a significant increase, almost 1 lakh crore of rupees more interest we are going to shell out, which the economy will have to bear. And ultimately, they've just gone for the balancing figure of 3.1%, which they wanted. So ultimately, everything is balanced with the deficit financing or borrowing. So somewhere or the other, we have to at least see to it that our spendings to some extent are reduced. Maybe started accountants, we are least bothered. हमको इतना चाहिए कितना टैक्स है, कितना जीएसटी ऑडिट है, कितना टैक्स ऑडिट है, वो चाहिए तो हम लोग वही लेते हैं. Objectives of budget. The budget proposals for this financial year are health and well-being, physical and financial capital infrastructure, inclusive development for aspirational India, human capital, innovation and R&D, research and development, and minimum government, maximum governance. These are the objectives with which this budget. No change in direct rates, surcharge and cess. Relaxation for certain category of senior citizens from filing return, rationalization of provisions relating to tax audit. Now, wherever you find rationalization in the speech, you understand that something was going wrong against the government. So that is how the amendment has been made, and rationalization means against the SSC, by and large. Extending the due date for filing the return in some cases, reducing time limit for belated and revised returns, and also remove difficulty in case of defective returns. Of proceeds of high premium ULIPs, payment by employer of employee contribution to fund, reduction of time limit for completing assessment, discontinuation of settlement scheme, settlement commission with effect from February 1st, 2021. Constitution of Dispute Resolution Committee, TDS TCS for non-filers of returns, advance tax liability for dividends, exemption for LTC, the cash scheme, extension of date of incorporation for filing startup for eligible startups, and increase in safe harbor rules from 10 to 20% in case of builders, which we'll be discussing. Rate of tax, there has been no change whatsoever, so I'll not even look at the slides. We all know 10, 5%, 20%, 30%. हमको बात हो गया है, so let's not devote more time onto that. Introduced last year continues in this year as well. So in case if you go for this kind of a scheme, then you will not get any deductions under Chapter 6A, and even in case is allowed to forgo many exemptions, deductions as the case may be. Okay, so this is how it is if you go for this. By and large, the old scheme is beneficial, but this scheme is beneficial for those who are actually in happy-go-lucky kind of people. आज कमाया, आज उड़ा दिया, खत्म हो गया. उनके लिए ये scheme अच्छा है because they are anyways not going to invest anything. Like American people who are least bothered about tomorrow. But somewhere or the other, we will have to understand that American people are getting unemployment allowance, number one, and second thing is old age pension, which is not there in this country unless and until you are employed and you have a provident fund and government goes on paying. Okay, so that kind of financial security is not there. The not only financial security, medical security is also not there. So encouraging our youth not to invest is also dangerous to an extent. We'll have to cultivate the habit of people investing money so that their future is taken care of, but be it as may be, this is how the new trend has been, and you can't. Cooperative societies and firms, the same rate of tax continues. Then the dividend distribution tax is not there because dividend is now completely taxable. Companies, same rates of 25%, 30%, 40% for foreign companies continue, and that apart subsequently is those amendments which came in for EBA, BAB, all those things like 22% of rate that continues same way in the next year also. New manufacturing companies who have been actually incorporated after October 1st, 2019, 15% tax subject to certain things. And one more thing which is worth sharing here is March 20, that is assessment year 2021, who had opted for 115 BAA, we were eligible to get deductions under Chapter 6A, which are not income based. In the sense that, let us say I've invested, I've given donation in as a company, maybe under CSR or otherwise. CSR donation is not deductible expenditure under Section 37. But sure enough, I was able to get that deduction under Section 80G. But March 20 gone, they have already made an amendment in last year only, stating that under 115 BAA, henceforth even 80G will not be allowed to you as a deduction. So March 21, be careful. Those who have actually gone for BAA, considering, so one of our clients who are under CSR, we took a call stating that we'll take this benefit because they had invested, they had given donation of around 31 lakh rupees because of their profits. Okay, so it was a significant saving for them. But later on, when we read through the entire thing, because this amendment came very silently, there was no publicity to this. Or maybe I was ignorant, I don't know. But most of the people whom I asked, they were not aware that this kind of an amendment has come. So be careful, March 21. Now, since already we have, in case if you have opted for the 22%, and we have filed this form number 10 IC, in that case, there is no comeback. It's a one way. Okay. So any which ways, whatever has happened, but be careful this year, in case if you already opted last year for 115 BAA and gone for 22%, March 21 return this 80G deductions and other deductions which are with respect to expenditure side will not be allowed to you as a deduction. This is what the thing is. No increase surcharge on capital gains. Like we have this surcharge of 10%. I mean, so sorry, in case of companies, we have larger surcharge, and in case of individuals, we have this 10%, 15%, 25%, and 30%, 37% surcharge. But in case if you have dividend income, this year they have given an amendment that on dividend income, the maximum surcharge will be only 15%. So let us say, I'm giving an example that your normal income, let's say, is 1 crore, okay, and dividend income is, let's say, another 1 crore or maybe 3 crores. So typically it's a case of 4 crore rupees. Okay, in that case, because it is 4 crore rupees, you would be entering into the area of 25% as surcharge. Okay, now because of this, your surcharge on the entire income would be restricted to 15% only. Okay, because there is a clear-cut amendment stating that for as far as dividend, long-term capital gain under 112A and short-term capital gain 111A, if these incomes are there, and because of that your income is increasing and surcharge is eventually increasing, then also ultimately the surcharge will be restricted only to 15%. Take another example. Let us say that I have my total income excluding dividend 40 lakh rupees. My dividends are, let's say, 2 crore rupees. Okay, because of, or maybe 5 crore rupees, let us say. Okay, because of that, my total income now becomes 5 crore 40 lakhs. So I'm entering into the surcharge of 37%. But ultimately, in this case also, my surcharge will be restricted to 15%. So this is how one will have to understand this amendment. So dividend has got this extra benefit. Maybe larger investments, industrialists who are having dividends of 500 and 600 crores, 800 crore rupees, or maybe larger than that, they actually benefit. And any which ways, I know it's fantastic. It's nothing wrong about it. Say surcharge of 30%, 37% itself is very unfair because effective rate is as high as 42%. So somewhere taxation simplified, we still find it to be more complex. Relief from higher surcharge, we have already discussed this. They were 10 to 15, so I'll skip this slide right now. We go to exemption for LTC. These are the amendments which are there. Charvik, can we do away with that thing? Okay, because some portion will. Okay, fine. Yeah, no worries. Okay. Exemption for LTC cash scheme, government came out with a novel thing that because last year's position, the circumstances, people were not able to proceed on travel. And government announced that for our employees, we'll be having cash LTC scheme, okay, whereby the instead of leave travel concession, we'll be paying you in cash. But with a condition that you will have to spend that amount. The government employees were expected to spend that amount and not retain with them. On the same line, Section 10(5) has been amended from assessment year 21-22. This is a retrospective amendment, but a beneficial amendment, which says that in case of value in cash in lieu of LTC, and the employees opting for this for a block of 2018 to 21, because we all know that there is a block of 4 years every year. Means every 4 years you have a block, and you claim out of those 4 years you can claim LTC for 2 years. Okay. So in case if for those 18 and 19 considering you have not opted for LTC, and now you are opting for it, but since you could not proceed on leave, you have been given cash assistance in lieu of this. In that case, if you spend on the specified goods, now specified goods, they will be giving notification as to what are the specified goods. We need to wait for that. But giving an example that let us say that employee is allowed to buy a television. Okay, then he can buy the television, but the condition is the television will have to be bought from a registered GST dealer only, and the GST rate on that particular product should be at least 12%. It could go up to 18% or 28% as the case. Maybe there is nothing wrong, but it should not be less than that. So if you go for that, then it will be given a benefit of this. And one more thing which is there is the payment will have to be made through banking channel or what you call online payment, kind of online like a Paytm or anything you pay with. There is nothing wrong with it. Or you issue a check or a credit card as the case may be. But cash payment will not. So this is a welcome amendment. The purchases have to be made between 12th of October 2020 to March 2021. Why 12th of October 2020 is for the simple reason that this scheme was already announced for the government employees. For private sector employees, the date is now you have very less time to actually go and spend money. But this is how it is. This provision has come in. And amount of exemption under any circumstances would not exceed 36,000 rupees or 1/3 of the specified expenditure, in the sense that let's say I'm spending 1.5 lakh rupees on the specified product. So 1/3 of that works out to 50,000 rupees, but I will be getting only 36,000 rupees. As compared to that, in case if I have spent 90,000 rupees, then 1/3 of that comes to 30,000 rupees. So 36 and 30, whichever is lower. So 30,000 rupees deduction will be given, exemption will be given to me under section 10(5). This is how the scheme goes. And somebody was asking me where GST ke saath ke GST ke baad ke pehle. So that is not the concern. Any amount that you spend, because you are the ultimate consumer, and that GST also is your own expenditure. So with GST, the amount they will get the benefit maximum of 36,000 rupees. And one more thing is, in case if I'm obtaining the benefit of this particular expenditure, then my wife should not encash the same bill. This is the condition ultimately. See, that means double benefit should not be obtained, and in this case. Then relaxation for certain senior citizens from filing returns of income. One more provision for TDS under section 194P has been introduced with effect from 21-22, that is current financial year 2021, wherein it has been provided that in case if you are a resident senior citizen above the age of 75 years or more, I would say, and you have only pension income, and that pension, you have only one bank account, and the pension is credited in that account. So that pension plus interest from that account only, this is the only income that in that case you are eligible for this scheme. You will have to give a declaration to the concerned banker. That bank will also be specified like State Bank of India or some nationalized bank, or maybe let us see given this benefit or not, I'm not sure about. they will specify it. But the condition is that in case if I have two different accounts, one is in State Bank of India and one is in HDFC Bank, in that case, the senior, I am not entitled to this scheme because I have two different accounts. The other means my bank will not take provisions of state interest. Okay, so this is how the scheme has been framed. It will be for a limited class of people who are only enjoying only one account and banking with them. And bank in that case will make TDS on this amount. They will calculate, they will do the role of a chartered accountant. They will deduct tax at source under section 194P and deposit with the government. And once it is deposited with the government, you will not be under obligation to file the return of income. Now the challenge starts. There is one more provision that has come in this year, which is 206AB. 206AB says that in case if you deduct somebody else's tax and that person has not filed return for 2 consecutive years, I'm coming to that. Next slide is that only. Means since this is related to this, I chose to discuss this together. 206AB and 206CCA effective July 1st, 2021, where they have specified that in case if a payee of whom I'm deducting tax and that payee does not file return for 2 consecutive years and the due date for filing return has already gone, in that case I will have to make TDS at the twice the normal rate. In the sense, giving an example that let us say I'm paying professional fee to Mr. X and I have to deduct tax at the rate of 10%. Forget 7.5, but that 25% deduction means the reduction will anyways go after 1st April. So we consider the example of 10%. So 10%, if I'm deducting, I'm supposed to deduct tax. I will have to also ensure that this person has filed the return for last 2 years. So let us say I'm making the payment on 1st of July 2021. Then I will have to ensure that this person has filed the return for 2019 and 2020. But in case if I'm deducting tax on 1st of August and presuming that the date of filing return for 21 remains at 31st of July, okay, there is no extension. On 1st of August, I will have to ensure that the person has filed his return for March 19, March 20 and March 21 also. Okay, this is the provision. In case if the person has not filed his return for any reason, then the TDS will double. So instead of 10%, I will deduct 20%. Or twice the rates in force, because certain TDS rates are given not given in the in a particular section, but in Finance Act Schedule 3. Okay, so I will have to travel there and examine as to what is the rate, or at the rate of 5%, whichever is lower. So let us say I'm making a TDS of a contractor at the rate of 1%. Okay, in that case, I will have to, if considering that that contractor has not filed the return of income, in that case, instead of 1%, I will have to make TDS at the rate of 2%. This is where the issue is. First, I'm अपना सीनियर सिटीजन का इश्यू तो डिस्कस कर ही नहीं रहा हूं, वो तो बात की बात है. Before that, this means that I will have the obligation to ask my vendors that you please give me a copy of return, and he will obviously say, why should I be giving you? That is not my job. Okay, in that case, I am obliged to do it. I am obliged to make the TDS at the rate of 2% or 20%, as the case may be. Again, the story does not end here. Let us say that person does not have permanent account number. In that case, I will have to travel to another section 206 CA or something. Okay, and I will have to deduct tax at the rate of 20%. So, which kind of compliance are we expecting people to go? Am I here to do my business peacefully? And is this the piece or the what you call the piece, the ease of business in India? This is not ease of business. Anyways, But this is how it is. 206 double, as I said, I'll have to deduct 20%. Fine. If the person is not filing data, he does not have common account number, he's not giving me, as the case maybe, I deduct at the higher rate and pay to the government, nothing wrong. But if you are expecting me to have a control over his returns and take all records, whether I should be working for myself or I should be working for the government. Fine. Be it as maybe, to ye ho gaya. Now they have given certain exemptions under 194P. In case if you are a senior citizen and giving declaration, okay, I'm sorry, not 194P, but if you are under this particular clause, which is 206 AB, similar provision is there for TCS also. In case if I'm collecting tax of a particular person and that person has not filed the return of income, then also I have to charge him double TCS instead of single TCS. Okay. Now, having said so, they have given an exemption that these are the items, these are the sections 192 and 192A, which are salaried people. 194B, winning from lottery and crossword puzzles. 194BB, winning from horse race. 194 LBC, income in respect of investment in securitization trust. And 194N, payment for certain amounts in cash. These are the sections on which this double TDS does not arise. In the sense, let us say I'm making payment to my employee, and my employee, I'm deducting tax also, but my employee is not filing return for past 2 consecutive years. Then also I am not liable to deduct that higher tax because there is an exemption. Now you come to 194P. 194P has not been given in these exemptions. Okay. So when it goes to the banker will say, hypothetically I'm telling you, although the person is not under obligation to file the return, but since the exemption is not given here, what will the banker do? So he will have to double the TDS. Are you getting me? So this is where the issue is. So going back to this, that in case I have to see so many limits. One thing is, in case if he's a senior citizen above 75 years, he's resident in India, he has only one bank account and only receiving pension, and bank should be deducting tax. But now bank will be under dilemma whether I should be deducting tax on the at normal rates or double the rates, because it is not otherwise. It is probably, this is how it is. Probably they will take care of this, or I'll request Preeti at least to give this representation, because this is very important. Okay, and same as I said, TCS also, in case if the person is not filed return of income, the payee, then he'll have to apply double the TCS rate or 5%, whichever is. Coming to the next amendment, which is 80IBA and 80EA. Very shortly and sweetly, the builder who is into affordable housing projects, they were supposed to begin the project from 1st of April 2000. I'm sorry, they were supposed to get the project approved before March 31st, 2021. Now they have been given one more year. And in case if a project for affordable housing is approved before 31st of March 2022, then also they would be entitled to the deduction under section 80IBA. The condition is it should be affordable housing project. And the value of the property should be up to 45 lakhs. Valuation I'm talking about should be up to 45 lakhs only, and accordingly the person will then be able to get the deduction. Means the builder will be able to get deduction. On the same line, 80EEA is also amended, that in case if I as an individual, first time buyer of a house, buying a house with loan, then I am entitled to deduction of additional 1.5 lakh rupees apart from those 2 lakh rupees under section 24B. Apart from that, I also another 1,50,000 rupees here as a deduction. So now again, in case if I'm going under the new regime, I will not be entitled to this. So all those people who are otherwise taking benefit of some deduction will have to come compulsorily under the old regime of 5, 20, 30%. And in case if that be the case, in case if I have taken a loan from bank up to 31st March 2022 instead of 21, I'll be entitled to the deduction under section 80EEA of 1.5 lakh additionally. And one more thing that has come in for builders is that government will also notify certain rental housing projects for the purpose of this 80IBA. So probably in old era, if you see, people were making houses to rent, like Matunga and all. Wadiwala Sahib will remember this. Matunga, in that area particularly, people were building houses in order to give them on rent, on pagdi, and now all those people have actually become owners. So same kind of scheme somehow government is envisaging, and it may be notified. So in addition to a builder who is making the means, who is building affordable housing project, we will have a new category of builders who are making building to be given on rent instead of selling. Okay, even those builders, in case if they are in line with affordable housing projects, then also they would deduction of under section 80IBA. This scheme will notify, so we'll see. Next is 89, a mismatch with respect to taxation of income. In case, let us say that I am a resident now, but I was a non-resident earlier, and I invested into some retirement fund abroad in some other country. Okay, now that country is typically taxing my income of pension, okay, on payment basis. But in India, I'm supposed to pay tax on the accrued basis. Every year I'll have to pay tax. So there is going to be mismatch. Okay, people are finding it difficult to claim the tax credit, because in that country probably after 5 years tax will be deducted or paid, whereas in this country I am paying the tax right away. So that mismatch, in order to breach that mismatch, government will notify a scheme as to how to do this. This notification is yet to come. So we will just, in case if you have a client who has this kind of investment abroad, who is now a resident, he has come to India for good, then you may take the benefit of this section, but the scheme is still not known. So let's wait for that scheme to come. Next is raising of prescribed limit for 1023C. This is not very important thing, but in case if you are a university or educational institution covered and registered under section 1023C, in that case up to 1 crore rupees you are not expected to pay any taxes. Now that limit is sought to be raised to 5 crore rupees. When my daughter was studying for a final CA, her professor somehow said that this 1 crore limit is also applicable to 12A trusts, but that is not the case. Now all the final CA students are under the impression that in case if a trust registered under section 12AA, in case if their income is up to 1 crore rupees, whether they do anything, they don't do anything, they spend, they don't spend, they don't have to pay tax, but that is not the case. Okay, so this is not for 12AA trusts, only 1023C, wherein their limit has gone up to 5 crore. Next is rationalization of, again rationalization. Antina Nagado, yeah, this is something against the government, which now has been sought to be rectified, and very, very dangerous provision for trusts. 1023C and section 11 also, effective 2022-23. So thankfully this provision is not retrospective. Trusts, they take money under corpus. Okay, now as per law, as per the charity law, the corpus donation has to be invested, and you can only spend the interest income out of that investment for the purpose of, for the objects of trust. What people were doing, they were taking that corpus donation, they were not investing, but they would spend that corpus amount rather than investing, and claim that amount as a what you call application of funds, which was not in line with the law. And rightfully the law has been amended very clearly that in case if you have done this kind of a thing, that you invested, you taken the money towards corpus, and you, instead of investing, you spent it, then that amount will not be treated as application of funds. So then you'll have to pay tax on that. As in when you actually make the investment in under section 11(5) securities, in that year particularly, you will get this amount as an application. Very fair provision, nothing wrong with that. Okay. So it will not be considered otherwise as an application. So this is one provision which is welcome provision, nothing wrong. Another provision which is now coming is application of loans. In case if I have taken a loan from bank, the loan repayment that I was making, trusts were treating that amount as application of funds. So they have now stated that in case if you actually repay the loan, that repayment of loan is not an application. You will have to actually spend money on the objects of trust. Okay, so when you either you take depreciation or you take entire, let's say I'm constructing a building with a loan. I can take that entire building as application. There is nothing wrong. But at the once I'm taking depreciation also on building, then I'm taking application of that particular loan repayment as application, or repayment of loan as application. Both were being done. That has now been cut. Again, a welcome provision. Nothing wrong with that. The most disturbing thing that comes now is this: you will not get set off or deduction of allowances or any excess application of any year preceding the previous year. Now understand. Before that, this corpus thing, let me make one thing clear. Let us say that you are auditing a trust and there is deficit in the trust. Okay. Now we as chartered accountants will have to be careful as to why is the deficit there. Is the application that has been made extra? Let us say that my income, my receipts are 100 rupees and my application, my spendings are, let's say, 125. Now, in case if those excess 25 rupees which are there are out of what? Are out of my past earnings or out of corpus? If in case if this 25 rupees are out of my corpus, then that provision which has come in now will be affected, will get hit. So this is where we need to be extra careful while auditing the trust accounts. Okay. In case if that 25 rupees which has been there is out of my past earnings, which I am entitled, see, 100 rupees I am getting, 85 rupees I have to spend, 15 rupees I can carry forward permanently, no problems. That is the law. So in case if those 100 rupees are flowing out of this 15%, nothing wrong, no problems. But in case if this 25 rupees is being spent out of corpus, that the earlier section which will get triggered, and we'll have to be extra careful. Now the disturbing amendment that is coming. Let us say that I have spent money out of my past earnings, from my past accumulation.